So the UK is completely screwed. Once every few months, I'm just going to tell you all the crazy, insane shit that's going on in the UK. Right now, it's Canada, Australia, and England who are competing to see who can destroy their great empire fastest with socialism by importing a new underclass who will create a permanent one-party state and always vote for socialism. Here's what the UK has done in the last couple of days. So Rachel Reeves is in charge of the budget in the UK, and they had this budget announcement where they essentially talked about what they're going to do regarding taxes and public services and stuff like that. So first of all, the UK, as you know, is not doing well economically at all. It is very stagnant. So what do socialists do? They start taxing you more. So they've raised taxes in the UK. As you can see here, the BBC headline says, millions to pay more in tax as Reeves says budget is tackling cost of living. Okay, so by taxing people more, how Orwellian is this? War is peace, freedom is slavery, and paying more tax saves you money, according to the UK. Man, this is just the tip of the iceberg. So let's kind of listen to Rachel Reeves and what she's saying about taxing people more. She went back on her word. Labour, her government, promised that they weren't going to raise taxes, and they raised taxes. Here is how she tried to justify it. See if you can stomach this, because it's not pretty viewing, Massacre mates, not at all.
Extending the freeze on tax.
Beth.
Thank you. Chancellor, today you've announced that you're extending the freeze on tax thresholds. It will raise £8.3 billion. In the budget in 2024, you said extending the threshold freeze would hurt working people. It would take more money out of their pay slips. I am keeping every single promise on tax I made in our manifesto. I say to working people, I will not increase your national insurance. I will not increase your VAT. I will not increase your income tax.
So she said that she wasn't going to increase taxes in any capacity, pensions, income tax, whatever. And she did.
Today, you've just broken your manifesto pledges and your promise to millions of workers in the budget last year. You would not extend the threshold.
Mate, there's nothing going on upstairs in this woman's head. She's a DEI hire. She's got no business experience, and she's in charge of the UK economy. DEI I think it's a controlled demolition. I'm full on board with the conspiracy at this point.
How in good conscience can you stay on in your job?
Okay, so what's your excuse for breaking your promise and raising taxes?
In the manifesto, we were very clear. It was the rates of income tax, national insurance and VAT. But I'm not going to get into semantics.
What did you say? I'm not going to get into semantics. Okay, so you're in charge of all the finances. Maybe she did some massive spreadsheet with all these equations and numbers and shit. And it fucked up the UK, and there was no growth at all. And then someone says, well, can you explain your calculations? I'm not going to get into numbers. What does that even mean? This government, she's not going to get into semantics. It's only semantics with these people. It's empty rhetoric. It's weird, hollow idioms. It's just, all it is semantics and spin. There's no substance at all. Insane comment from the woman who just raised taxes on the poor British.
Recognise that we are asking people to contribute more by freezing those allowances.
So
frozen by the previous.
I'm not going to get into semantics, but then you're saying you're using semantics to say we're asking people to offer more. She won't use the words which describe it best, which is just raising taxes.
From 2021 to 2028, and we're freezing them for a further 3 years. And I do recognise that I was asking ordinary people to pay a little bit more.
Oh, God. How is the general election not being called in the UK? I do realise that I'm asking ordinary people to pay a little bit more. What you want to say is I'm raising taxes on everyone, including the working class, which our party is supposed to represent. They failed. Right. Okay. So this is what happens with socialism. They micromanage everything. They control everything. And you wait till the other stories, mate. They've started to get their socialist tendrils into fucking everything. And then when they micromanage everything and there's too many layers of bureaucracy and the government doesn't have any business experience, so since it's acting like one giant business, it starts destroying all the businesses. Then they have to raise taxes to compensate for the money that they've lost. It's an exponential decline. the billionaires leave because they're now being taxed too much. And these people demonize billionaires routinely. When the billionaires leave, all the jobs leave. And the billionaires pay all of the net taxes in the UK. They pay the top 0.1% of earners pay something like 30% of all taxes. And the top 10% of earners pay, including the top 10% of earners collectively, pay something like 80% of all taxes. So more billionaires have left the UK than any other country in the last year. UK is fucked. And now they're raising taxes on the working class to make up the difference for all the billionaires leaving that they demonized. And ironically, that was the thing that got them into power. You're seeing the full effects of socialism here. But man, we're just getting started. We are just getting started with how screwed the UK is. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. So do you know what they did after raising taxes? They removed the 2-child benefit cap. What does this mean? So you can't get benefits for children if you have more than 2 children. They just removed that. Now, on paper, you think that's really good. The UK has a negative birth rate, and so offering more social services and free government money from the socialist money tree for having more than 2 children might mean you're going to get more children, right? Actually, no. So in the UK, the white British native population have a 1.4 population replacement rate. You need a population replacement rate of 2 to increase the population, right? Mum, 1 person, dad, 2nd person. And so you have to have 2 children to replace them when they die. White British population replacement rate, 1.4. The Muslim population replacement rate is 2.4 to 2.8. So that means what will happen is the UK already has no money. The economy has stalled. It's stagnant. Taxes are being raised. People can have even less money. Where is the money going to go? It's going to go to fund Hamid May and his children, who are having more children than the native populace. Absolutely crazy. So being taxed more to fund your own replacement of people who are disproportionately on benefits. Absolutely fucking crazy. But we're just getting started, bruv. We are just getting started. When they promoted this message online, the state-funded media used a picture of a white family, but it's not the white families who are having kids. It's other families. These families are going to pay for other families from other nations to have kids and replace them. So this is the program. The native British are in decline, and leftists believe that all people are fungible, so they're just going to replace the native populace with people from all over the world. What could possibly go wrong if you disproportionately import people from countries who've invented sweet fuck all over the last 200 years? What could possibly go wrong? Those people surely are just going to change into native British as soon as they fucking touch down on British shores. In the same way, I just turned into a Japanese person when I moved to Japan from Britain. The average British person has an IQ of 100. The average Japanese person has an average IQ of 105. When I moved to Japan, my IQ suddenly just gained 5 points because I became Japanese. In the same way, I'm sure all those people, those lovely people, like the person who shot 2 of the National Guards in America from Afghanistan, their IQ suddenly going to raise and they're going to become exactly the same as the British. They're going to become enlightened. They're going to become productive. They're going to have the 3rd child, which will not be impeded by the previous old, outdated 2-child cap benefit. And that child is going to go on to design, I don't know, something like the next smartphone. What could possibly go wrong in the United Kingdom? If that wasn't bad enough, do you know what else they're doing in the United Kingdom? Buckle up for this shit. They are getting rid of juries in the legal system. So you know those really important checks and balances that doesn't give one psychopath arbitrary power to condemn whoever they want, like Hitler did with his legal system and Mussolini did with his legal system. Well, you have a jury of a bunch of people who all have to unanimously agree that someone's guilty or not. They're getting rid of that in the UK. They're getting rid of juries. So England is turning into a prison island now. Elon Musk is posting about this on X. I'm not kidding. This is really fucking happening. It's just one thing after another in the UK. Absolutely fucking mad. Check out this news. So Politics UK say the UK government is set to scrap trial by jury for most cases. Only Erdemay, Apray and Slaughtermay and a few public interest cases will go to a jury, while all other cases will be decided by a single judge. Bro, what could possibly go wrong here? So the British judges now, who have arbitrary power to do whatever they want without consulting a jury, they be like this, cuzzy.
You went on to say that you did not want your money going to immigrants who, quote, rape our kids and get priority, end quote. This offence is so serious.
What's happening in this video is a British judge sentenced a guy to 20 months in prison for a Facebook post where he talked trash on some immigrants. So now we are giving supreme arbitrary power to these motherfuckers. A judicial system that's already captured by the Marxists, who already gives special treatment to people who are not British. Those people are going to have arbitrary power to do whatever they want without a jury. So that's happening in the UK. Yeah, so the conspiracy is real. There's a globalist hydra, if you will, a socialist hydra. Just go to George Soros's Open Society Foundation website and just read everything there to see what they want. They want open borders. They want to destroy capitalism. They want to destroy Christianity. They want to destroy the things that created the most powerful system in the world, that gave people, that solidified people's inalienable rights to be just left alone to do what they want. All of that's being subverted. All of that's being destroyed. Solzhenitsyn, the guy who essentially helped to bring down communism with his book Gulag Archipelago, he said you can tell a Marxist system because it essentially lets criminals walk free and like penalizes and arrests truth tellers. Get ready, UK. Get fucking ready. It was already Marxist as hell, and now it's just the power's going to be in the hands of a single judge. You fucking get ready, cuzzy wuzzy wuzzy. So UK is rapidly scrapping the last vestiges of democracy, and having a judge without a jury, in my opinion, will remove the final barriers to jailing tens of thousands of critics of the UK government and its appalling authoritarian and destructive policies and actions, many of which I've just listed for you here. So if you criticize them, that one crazy judge is going to throw you in jail, cuzzy, because we don't have a First Amendment. So you know what else the UK is doing? Well, check this out, right? Socialist government, you can't eat, sleep, itchay without them telling you what to do or taxing it. So I thought electric vehicles were supposed to save the environment, man, and we need to buy an electric vehicle, which is really fucking expensive. Well, guess what? The UK is now going to start, not just on top of the tax for just having your car, on top of the tax for daring to enter London, daring to enter the capital city, there's another tax which is going to tax you per mile driven. I don't need to explain why this is fucking crazy. Speaks for itself, cuzzy. Check this shit out. Check this shit out. And listen to the rationale for needing to tax you per mile driven with electric cars.
And because all cars contribute to the wear and tear on our roads, I will ensure that drivers are taxed according to how much they drive and not...
Oh my God, bro. Okay, so electric vehicles, which are supposed to save the environment, you haven't saved it enough, cuzzy. They contribute to the wear and tear of the road, so they're going to tax you per distance driven. So do you know how they're going to fucking do that? You wait for the next piece of news. Man, they're actually going to push through the digital ID. They've set aside billions of pounds for the digital ID. So your digital ID, at some point, you're not going to be able to drive your car unless you have a digital ID, and they're going to shut your car off, or at least tax you up the arse for just daring to drive and exercising your freedom of movement. This is what's going to fucking happen in the UK. Fucking mad. Because your car contributes to the wear and tear of the road. They do this with the environment as well. They're going to go down this route. You know, you bought too much meat, you're contributing to killing the environment, or what the fuck ever. Or you travel too far in a plane, you're killing the environment, we're going to tax you more for that. Or anything, like you bought a computer that doesn't have parts in, we need to use fossil fuels to make that, whatever. We're going to tax you more for that. Pretty much anything you do leaves a carbon footprint, according to these people. So It's not just they're going to tax you per mile. They're eventually going to use that as a pretext to just fucking tax you for breathing. Yay, we regulated. Well done, leftist government, communist government in the United Kingdom. So yeah, you can't drive because it's going to add to the wear and tear of the roads. So what about like the wear and tear of my freedom? Can I tax you for that? Like, what about the wear and tear of my brain and soul and actual body for all the fucking stress you're giving me for taxing me and making silly decisions with the economy and making life unlivable in treasonous fashion, supporting loads of immigrants coming in when no one voted for it? When do I get to tax you for that wear and tear? The government is supposed to be an avatar of what the people want in a democracy. This isn't that. This isn't that. This is a ruler. I mean, the UK is defaulting to history. It has an authoritarian ruler. They just do what they want, and you go, well, okay, it's in our history, bruv. That's why I love America, because you guys don't put up with this shit. In England, we're defaulting to that. We're experiencing tyrannical rule in the UK. These people are ruling over us. They're not doing what we want, and we can't get rid of them, and it's arbitrary. So the UK is completely fucked. It's completely cooked. It's gone, cuzzy. So they're going to tax you per mile driven now. And guess what? This is the chef's kiss of communism in the UK. Digital ID, remember that shit? Bruv, Americans, you better pay attention, because it starts in the UK and or Canada and Australia and Germany, and it will come to you. So you've got to be ready to fight this shit. The digital ID. Breaking news, that Labour government, during that announcement, they announced they're going to spend £1.8 billion on implementing digital ID, something literally nobody wanted. Nobody wanted. And they said before, the pretext for this is, it's going to help stop migration. Oh, it's going to help stop migration. I see. You want some more bad news? Do you know what they fucking said during these announcements? They also said they're tripling the illegal migration budget. The OBR said that asylum accommodation is expected to cost $15.2 billion over the next 10 years, revised up from the Home Office's previous estimate of $4.5 billion. Tripling that. So if the digital ID is supposed to stop migration, why are you tripling the budget for illegal migration? What the fuck is going on? Because we know the digital ID is not going to stop the migration. It's about controlling people. Oh my freaking God. So Labour have been lying. They know that the people don't want mass migration. Even people on the left don't want mass migration. Proved by the fact that the Muslim Home Secretary, Shabana Mahmood, said things like this recently on X. Migrant communities have for generations been woven into the tapestry of British life. Unfortunately. But to settle in this country forever is not a right, but a privilege. And it must be earned. So even the hard leftists, they know that the people do not want mass migration. She also said this: settlement is a privilege, not a right. She said that recently. Talked about deporting people. They recently dropped this news on X. They said under new proposals, only British citizens could be entitled to benefits and social housing. So earlier, Rachel Reeves said we're not going to get into semantics, but it's all semantics, because they know people don't want mass migration. Then they use semantics to pretend that they don't want mass migration, saying things like only British citizens could be entitled to benefits. But the thing is, they're going to, in spite of everything they've said, the British citizen is not the British citizen. It could be like Bokjit from Pakistan who's come over last year, and they're still going to get the benefits. They use semantics to cover it up. And even though they're saying that they don't want to have this mass migration, as proved to you by their post on X here, they just announced they're tripling the budget to house economic migrants. Look at what people do, not what people say. The Labour government are incentivizing and creating a migration crisis, and with that, a crime crisis, an ape ray crisis, an Erdeme crisis, an economic crisis. That's what they are doing. And what makes it even worse is they're not even admitting what they're doing. They're trying to cover it up and lie about it. Man, the UK is so beyond fucked. Its only hope is, this is how bad the UK is, in my opinion. The UK's only hope is the economy is crashed, and they have to call a general election, and then reform will win. Is it any wonder the UK is failing? Whenever you see women in the government, too many of them, the government's going to fail. It's just a fact, because men are better leaders than women. There are exceptions to the rule. We had some good female leaders over time, and there have been some queens or whatever. We had a Margaret Thatcher. She was quite hardcore. She wasn't perfect. I think she was quite good. There are exceptions to the rule. But men lead better than women. That's why every single war has been won by a man leading the way. Men are just better at it. And even worse, if you have a woman in a government who's there only because she's a woman, not because of her talent, it's going to fail. If you give a job to someone based on their immutable characteristics, it's not going to fucking work. These are the people essentially leading the UK. These like top level politicians. Do these look like women who know what the fuck they're doing, who are going to pull Britain up by its bootstraps and say, come on lads, let's fucking have it. Let's get this shit cracking? Of course they're not. They're DEI hires, and they have to do what they're told because they were given a job in exchange for their compliance. They said it, not me. Leftists hire people based on immutable characteristics. Go onto the Oscar website, go onto the Disney website, go onto the ITV website, go onto the BBC website, go onto any fucking British institutional website you can find and look at their diversity section. And I'll wait, you can come back, you're going to find targets for diversity which says 50% of this institution will be women by this date, 25% will be people from this country. Bro, if you do that, if you say, I'm going to put a woman in this role just because she's a woman, you're reducing the talent pool by 50 to 51%. And then if you throw into the mix other filters, variables, people from other countries, you're reducing the talent pool by up to 90%. So why do you think that these people are incompetent? Why do you think? The UK is now a socialist country. It's importing an underclass of people who have no money and no experience, and it is redistributing the wealth from the rich and wealthy people by taxing them too much, and it's giving it to these people. It is now a socialist country. I don't know why people are not saying this is what's happening, because it's exactly what is happening. And this is what socialists do. They steal from productive people, and then they give it to a new bracket of people who will carry out the agenda and vote for them and bring them into power. And because England has a negative population replacement rate of white British, it means all these people in are going to become the dominant voting bloc, and they're constantly going to vote for a socialist forever. These people just want to have power and they want to dominate you. And it's going to be easier to do that if you have no money and you're bankrupt. At this point, I'm thinking it is a controlled demolition. They actually are trying to bankrupt the economy on purpose. UK is in massive trouble. Where's it going to go from here, cuzzy? It's going to get a lot worse before it gets better. Let me put it that way. So, too long didn't read that UK is getting rid of a jury and they're going to let judges arbitrarily decide things without any checks and balances. The UK is raising taxes. The UK is scrapping the 2-child cap benefit. So now people can get benefits with 3, 4, 5 children. And the only people having 3, 4, and 5 children are immigrants from third world countries and not native British. The UK is also now going to tax you per mile driven, even in electric vehicles. Is this fucking real? Is this even really happening? And they are spending billions of dollars on actually rolling out a digital ID. They're also tripling the asylum budget, incentivizing even more illegal migrants to come, which have gotten us to this horrific state in our history. And that's pretty much it, bruv. That's pretty much what's happening in the UK. So thank you for joining me today. I had to share that with you. When things get really, really bad in the UK, I'm gonna talk to you. I'm gonna show you what's going on. And Americans, this could be coming to you. So like I said before, please make sure you share this video with your friends and family. Warn them what could be coming if you do not get out there and vote for people who will stop this from happening.